Hi guys, and welcome back to Hippie Flower Girl. I know it's been a while since I've posted any videos. I haven't posted any mushroom related content because I haven't grown any mushrooms since February. My last batch was pretty successful and I didn't feel like growing anymore. And yeah, but I'm back, and today's video we are going to look at what is needed in order to grow mushrooms. Let's go through all my supplies and what I do. Okay, so let's jump into the video. Over here we have my big monotub, and then we have my still air box, and next to it there are two smaller monotubs. Over here I have my collection of jars. They're all disorganized, but now they are organized. So I just organized them, put lids on that didn't have holes, and yeah, I'm going to be removing all the labels, but first let's check out my supplies. So this is basically what I have, what is needed, so I'm just quickly going to unpack them. Here we have our petri dishes. They are glass, they are cleaned. The link for where I bought them is in my blog. Then we have some aluminium foil. I think this should be enough. And then we have some rubbing alcohol. I might get more. Over here we have some wooden dolls. This is for a project later on. I want to inoculate a stump in my backyard. Over here we have food coloring, completely optional, but I like to use it. Here we have our Agar powder, where I got this from Discam. Here we have the scalpel, got that from Spore Spot, as well as the paraffin film. And then we have our rubber bands and gloves. And gloves are optional, but it just helps to keep things sanitary. Let's get started. So I cleaned my jars and removed the labels. Ta-da! Very easy, very quick. All the labels are gone. Yeah, no, I'm completely joking. It took fucking forever. So here's kind of like a process. So here I'm just filling up the sink with hot water and soap, putting the jars in. Untie the lids or like loosen the lids first so that the water can get in because you're trying to melt the glue so that you can remove the labels faster. And that's why I poured out, like drained some water and then put in more hot water because it wasn't hot enough to remove the glue. So yeah, let it set for a bit or sit for a bit, and then when it's easy to peel off, you can start. So let's interrupt that and let's look at our supplies. We need rubbing alcohol, paper towels, a pressure cooker or a big pot. We need a still air box, and then we need some rubber bands, some aluminium foil. The lighter is completely optional. The reason why you have to sterilize basically everything is so that you actually grow mycelium and not another type of fungus or mold. You just want mycelium from the mushrooms that you aim to grow. So when you start, it's a great idea to invest in a still air box. You can just take a plastic tote, cut 2 holes in it, and leave the bottom, and then just stick your hands through it. If you want to upgrade, you can do like a flow hood. If you use your still air box, it allows you to keep a clean and sterile environment when you're doing transfers or when you're moving mycelium or inoculating your agar plates. This is good because it prevents other molecules from getting in and then affecting your growth. So yes. I use rubbing alcohol to wipe everything down with my paper towels. This just, prevents any microbes or whatever from getting onto your agar plates or getting into your grain spawn. We're just trying to keep a clean environment. You'll see that I've also listed aluminium foil, micro pour tape, and rubber bands under that. So the micropore tape, aluminium foil, and rubber bands. What happens is when you pressure cook something, or when you steam bath something, especially if there's water, that water will create a pressure. So when you are sterilizing your agar or you're sterilizing your grains, you should, so I do it like very cheap method. There are other methods that you can try that use more materials, but what I basically do is I just take a knife, stab a hole in the lid, then I cover the hole with micropore tape, and then I put the foil over it, and then I put the rubber band to secure the foil. And then I don't close the jars completely when I pressure cook them, just so that there is space for gas exchange. Okay. As well as when I sterilize my agar. Say that a lighter is optional. The reason why I'm saying a lighter is optional is once you have grown mycelium on agar plates, then if you want to transfer it to a clean plate so that you can get stronger mycelium or more of the same mycelium, you'll use a scalpel to cut a piece and transfer it. So you can sterilize the scalpel each time with a flame, but because I work with rubbing alcohol, I have burnt my table and I have burnt my curtains, so I don't do it anymore. But you are welcome to, just please be safe. So let's look at the supplies that we need for agar plates. You need your agar powder, light malt extract, which I do not have, food coloring, optional, glass bottle. Also don't have this. If you're living in South Africa, get a milkshake from Woolworths. It works. That shit is the best. Petri dishes, preferably glass, parafoam, and a scalpel. Now let's look at how we can make our agar. So when you make agar, you need petri dishes and then you need your agar medium with a nutrient. So I use agar powder with light malt extract. And then I have glass petri dishes because I like to reuse them. If you can't find or afford glass petri dishes because they're so expensive, why are they that expensive? Anyways, then you can just order pre-filled petri dishes with agar, or you can buy plastic petri dishes in a sleeve and then just use that. You can't reuse them because you can't pressure cook them. To make my agar, I mix my agar with my light malt extract. I add some hot water and some food coloring because I like the colors. And then I will pressure cook it or steam bath it for 90 minutes to 2 hours. After that, I'll take it out and then I will sterilize my petri dishes in the oven by wrapping them in foil. I usually sterilize them for like 20 to 30 minutes on 200 degrees. Once they're both cooled down so that I can work with them, I'll start. So you should not leave your agar until it's solidified because you won't be able to pour it, but you should wait until you can touch it. You will pour it. So I do have a video up here where I show you how to make agar and full petri dishes without using a pressure cooker. Once they've cooled down significantly, then you can add your your spores, or you can add the agar transfers from another agar plate that you have. So then you just wrap them up with some parafoam, and this just ensures that the moisture stays inside and then nothing else can get into it. And then after that you leave it and then you wait for something to grow. Okay, so we need clean jars, brown rice, which I don't have, a pot to cook the brown rice in. Then we need a knife, aluminium foil, and micropore tape. Do this with the multi-spore syringe, liquid culture, or you can use agar plates. So basically what you'll do is you'll cook your grains. In this case, I'm probably going to be using brown rice because it's easy and it's cheap. So you cook your brown rice for probably, I don't know how long. Check my video on how to make it. And then once it's cooked and cooled down and dried, then you need to put them into jars, and then you need to put the hole in the jar, put the micropore tape over it and put the aluminium foil over it and attach it with the rubber band. Then you'll pop that into your pot. You'll either use a steam bath or you use your pressure cooker. I usually do this for 90 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how much time I have. And then you leave it. I usually leave it until the next day because it's quite hot when I'm done. And after you leave it, you put everything into the still air box, you sterilize, then you can take your multi-spore syringe or your liquid culture or your agar plates, and then you can transfer it into your grain spawn, and then you can close it up and wait for it to grow. I use agar because it's much faster and I have less contaminants, especially with the brown rice because it's always wet, in my opinion, like in my experience rather. So let's look at what we need for our mono tub. We need a plastic tote, a cocoa coir brick, and a bucket with a lid. Okay, and once you have your grain spawn jars and they're fully colonized, then you can move on to your mono tub. So what you need then, you need a plastic tote. There are different methods in which you can set up your mono tub. I do Bod's unmodified monotub. And then what I do is I need a brick of cocoa coir and I need a bucket. I don't have a bucket anymore. I don't know what happened to it. But so basically you will hydrate the cocoa coir in the bucket with some hot water as well as sterilize it in the process. And then you will take the cocoa coir and your spawn, and you can choose the ratio. You can do 1:1 or you can do 1:2. I prefer 1:1 because it just colonizes faster and then there's less chance of contaminants. So yeah, and you do it with volume, not with weight. So if you have 2 handfuls of spawn, then you need 2 handfuls of cocoa coir if you're doing 1:1. So you shouldn't have like 100 grams of spawn and 100 grams of cocoa coir. It doesn't work. I tried it the first time and made a big mistake. There wasn't enough spawn. So yes. Yeah, and then you just pop them in there, mix it all together, pop the lid on and leave it. And then in like 2 or 3 weeks, you should have some mushrooms. So yeah. Okay, so those jars gave me such a headache. Using the rubbing alcohol did not work to remove the sticky residue after pulling off the labels. However, so I just tried to rub off the glue with the rubbing alcohol and a paper towel. It didn't work. It stayed sticky, but I thought it was working because like when it was wet, it would not be sticky. So here I'm trying to soak the jars in rubbing alcohol for a bit. The fumes got a bit much and the smell was terrible and it didn't work. I even then tried to use a nail brush in order to remove it. It helped a little bit, but it was very slow. As you can see over here, I got tired and used the nail brush. Didn't work. Using equal parts bicarbonate of soda and oil, forming that into a paste and rubbing it on for a while, leaving it and then wiping it off, worked wonders. So watch as I do it over here. I would highly recommend this method to anybody who is trying to clean the jars because it is so much easier, it's so much faster, and you can just wipe it off and then wash your jars one more time by using some hot water and soap, and it comes off pretty easily. So here I'm just mixing it up and then I'm going to form it into a paste and put it onto my jars. I did see that it was more effective to put the paste on and leave it for a while than it was to just rub the paste on and then immediately take it off. So here I'm just rubbing it on and then I'm going to rub it onto each jar. And after that, I will wash them in the sink. So here we go, I'm just wiping it down. And here we have all my clean jars and they're all ready to go back and be stored. So yeah. The great thing about monotubs is they double up as storage units as well. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you want a complete breakdown of all the supplies that I use from start to finish, so from like starting my petri dishes or agar plates to dehydrating my mushrooms and storing them, please check my blog Hippie Flower Girl. I have a breakdown there. And yeah, I hope that this was an informative video. Thank you so much for coming. There will be more mushroom related content coming to this channel. Please subscribe. And thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed so far. I really appreciated my 27 subscribers. And then like this video and follow me on Instagram, please. I'll see you next time. Bye bye, guys.